We turn now to News 5 Investigates follow-up after a Widefield man says a high-ranking sheriff's deputy made up a crime that never happened. Now, back in August, this man was charged with felony assault on an officer and thrown in jail, but video evidence obtained by Chief Investigative Reporter Eric Ross shows the man never touched the officer. He's live this afternoon outside the courthouse with new developments in the case. Eric.
Allison, good afternoon. Well, last month we aired a story exposing what appears to be a meritless arrest, all caught on camera. And after that story aired, we learned the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office pulled a 180, filing a motion to dismiss the case entirely. The judge ultimately agreed, but still there are a lot of questions this afternoon over what will happen to the sheriff's lieutenant who made that arrest. Last month, we met Tony Twiss after he bonded out of jail, charged with felony assault on a police officer. Tony says he was getting ready to run to Walmart when he noticed an unmarked SUV parked outside his daughter's bedroom window.
As I was walking out of the house, I looked out of her room window and seen that there's a vehicle sitting out there.
Tony says there's been previous petty crime in his neighborhood and found the SUV suspicious, so he went up to it with a flashlight as a curious neighbor.
And I shined the light, on the car, and then he rolled the window down.
Inside was Sheriff's Lieutenant Bill Huffer. According to Tony, the lieutenant was not happy about a flashlight being pointed at his car.
He tells me not to be shining lights on people because I could get hurt, and then he tells me to give him my ID. And so I pulled it out and I said, you know what, wait a minute. Let me grab my camera real quick and I'll be right back.
It's unclear why Huffer wanted Tony's ID. No crime had been committed, and Tony wanted it documented, so he went inside to get his wife, who came out with her cell phone and started recording. That's when Tony says the lieutenant had a change in attitude when he asked for his ID back.
He says, you're free to go. He says, you didn't have to give it to me anyway. And then I thought to myself, well, okay. I says, can you move your car? I said, so I can go.
Instead of leaving and moving on to other things, Lieutenant Huffer appears to antagonize Tony, refusing to move his unmarked patrol cruiser away from Tony's driveway. As Tony turns away to disengage from the lieutenant and walk back up his driveway, you can see for a split second in this slowed down video that he turns on the flashlight in his hand.
Put your hands behind your back. You just shine that in my eyes on purpose.
Tony is arrested and taken to jail.
Under arrest for obstruction.
But court records obtained by News 5 Investigates show that charge was changed from misdemeanor obstruction to felony assault on an officer.
If I'd assaulted him, I deserved it, but I didn't assault him.
In an arrest report obtained by News 5 Investigates, the flashlight, considerably less powerful than a police light bar, allegedly caused Lieutenant Huffer instant pain, an instant headache, and briefly disoriented him. But what's captured on video just does not match the lieutenant's version of events. At no time did Lieutenant Huffer appear disoriented. In fact, he had no trouble grabbing a hold of Tony and putting him in handcuffs. Also, at no time did we hear Lieutenant Huffer call for medical attention for the reported pain he suffered. Lieutenant Huffer's actions that night remain under administrative review, and according to the Sheriff's Office, there's no new updates on its status, but we'll keep following up. Meanwhile, the District Attorney's Office filing a motion to dismiss the case altogether, which will save taxpayers money in the long run by avoiding a trial that sources tell us would likely have never ended in a conviction. And back out here live, 2 days after our original story aired, Lieutenant Huffer went on Facebook to call our investigative journalism one-sided rather. However, we should point out that we did give the El Paso County Sheriff's Office numerous opportunities to comment on this case well in advance of a story airing. So Lieutenant Huffer, if you're out there watching and you still want to share your side of the story, my email address should be right there at the bottom of your screen, ericross@koaa.com. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, for our viewers out there, if we do hear from Lieutenant Huffer and we get his side of the story, we'll be sure to post it for you online at koaa.com. Allison?
Eric, thank you. And real quick, you tried to obtain internal affairs records for this lieutenant and learn more about his background. What were you able to find out?
Yeah, Allison, you know, we do know that this particular sheriff's lieutenant does have an internal affairs file, and believe it or not, about a year ago, lawmakers passed legislation to open up internal affairs records as part of public transparency, but the El Paso County Sheriff's Office has found a loophole that legally allows them to hide that record right now, so we're trying to find a workaround. Now, one thing before I toss it back to you, Allison, is that I have heard from other sheriff's office employees who want folks to know, who are watching right now, that the actions of Lieutenant Huffer are not reflective of the entire sheriff's office, and that there are many great sheriff's deputies out there. Those sheriff's deputies wanted us to relay that message to our viewers. Allison?